Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, get your cocktails ready because the countdown begins now.
A little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Get yours today indeed. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it is I, the Old Humble Guy, coming to you live from the Pandemic Studio right here in Humble, Texas, the studio that we set up. I set up, studio, it's my office, that I set up during the pandemic to broadcast to you live every single Tuesday and Thursday, and now every single Wednesday. Cheers. 240 shows we've done. 240. To your health, to mine, to the health of the world. Cheers. Damn, that's a good bourbon. I never get over how good my bourbon is. It is delicious. It is delightful. And today we are going to be talking specifically about Texas whiskey and what makes a Texas whiskey a Texas whiskey. If there's a specific style associated with Texas whiskeys, or if it's merely geography. That's a good question. It's an open debate, right? It's still an open debate right now because it's hard to. Well, we'll get into it in a minute. First, I want to do my distillery updates. Give you distillery updates. I've done a mini tour of the state of Texas. I've gone to Georgetown, Georgetown, Victoria, which is on the way to Corpus Christi. College Station twice, and 3 other stores in the city of Houston, plus 3 stores that are local, Porter, Kingwood, and Atascocita. Associate of mine has gone to Kingwood, Porter, and Atascocita as of Saturday. And then Saturday, I'm going to be in Palestine, Texas. Not Palestine, Texas, mind you. It's Palestine. We pronounce it that way. That's how we are. We're Texans. Deal with it. For the Whiskey and Wine Swirl, which is a small town social where we post up in a small town shop. The small town being Palestine, Texas, this time around. The last one we did was Huntsville. The one before that was down in the Heights community in Houston. It's kind of a city within a city. And then we did, where was the other one that we did? The HTX Whiskey Weekend that we went to. We had it's a good time to be had. I'm looking forward to being in Islands Bakery. I gotta double check where I'm going to be at. This bakery is called EILEN. I can't remember how to pronounce it. I got to look at it spelled EILEN Bakery. No, I misspelled it. That's a W, not an E. EILEN Bakery, Palestine, ESTINE. Island Burgers Bakery, EILENBERGER. Island Burgers Bakery. That's where I'm going to be at in Palestine, Texas. Charming little historic bakery. Cheers, Dominic. Welcome to the party. Salud. I am drinking our Boomtown bourbon tonight, and I'm going to be talking about Texas whiskey and what makes a Texas whiskey a Texas whiskey. I just drove in from Georgetown, Texas, which is 30 minutes north of Austin. Visited with Jake Clement, who is the head of the Texas Whiskey Association. And guy who runs the Texas Whiskey Festival. Chatted with him a little bit about Texas whiskeys and Texas bourbons. I didn't talk to him about the style per se, but that got me thinking on the remaining 3 hour trip home about what a Texas whiskey is. But we'll get to that in a second because I got one more thing to talk about before I get to that. I was also talking about big thanks to our um, additional subscribers that we got since last week. If you recall, on last week's episode, we were fluttering around 2,520. We were between 2518 and 2521 during the show. We have stormed past 2540. I think we're at 2541. We might be right at 2540. 2543. I am wrong. 2543 is the number we're at. On the strength of 2 shorts today that popped off for about 6,000 views. So if any of you folks are here, nice to see you here. We do fun stuff. I'm going to talk. We get crazy in the second half hour and second hour of the show. Because then we have our topic that we go for the first 30 minutes. Then after that, we do Old Humble After Dark, Old Humble Overnight. Old Humble Overnight, that's what it is. Old Humble Overnight, where I just basically open up the chat and we talk about whatever the hell. And the conversation goes in 5 different directions. I try to keep all the threads together. The folks in comments have their own conversations. They go off in their own little tangents. It's a fun little party. So come on in, get in here, start talking to people in chat. It's happy hour, man. It's happy hour. Pour yourself a drink, get to chatting. Talk about God and politics and baseball and football and all the stuff. Speaking of football, C.J. Stroud, the Texans quarterback, is the best damn rookie quarterback in the NFL this year, and he's making a serious argument for the best damn rookie quarterback since 1999. The turn of the century, and he's making a damn good argument for the best damn quarterback in the NFL right now. So that's kind of cool. Distillery update. One last little update I want to give. Tomorrow I get back at it. I'll probably do a day in the life where we're adding more panels to the walls. We get the whole tasting room sheathed in, and then I don't know if I'm going to go on. We'll get the whole tasting room sheathed in, and then we'll go to the next step and start working our way back towards the office. We've got the doors. We got to go around the doors and back into the office and around a door and into the office again and loop that around. We've got a lot of panels still to put up. And I need to get started on my special reserve, which is the next whiskey that we're going to start bottling. I'll probably bottle that up Friday. Haven't decided yet if I'll bottle up tomorrow or bottle it up Friday. I may take it easy Friday and not do any construction Friday, but I need to get this construction moved along. I need to get it to the point where it looks finished, mudded and taped. Even if we don't have it painted yet, I need it mudded and taped for Thanksgiving. So I've got a lot of work to do over the next week so I can put in the mud, put in the tape, so that I can put in the lights. I probably ought to put a coat of primer on it, primer paint combo, at least on the inside. So I don't need to have the outside sheathing done yet, but at least on the inside, primer and paint combo. Not sure what color we're going to do yet. I want it to be a bright color so that the lights reflect inside and we have plenty of light on the inside. Excuse me. But I haven't decided exactly which route we're going to go. I've got a whole weekend to decide, and we got a lot of paint that we're going to have to put up on those walls because that is 9.5 feet by 17 by 26 by 38 by so that's a lot of square footage. A lot of square footage to cover. And it doesn't have to be thick. It just has to be covered. I I just don't know what color we're going to do yet. It's not going to be black. It's not going to be brown. It's not going to be dark. It's going to be some kind of bright color. Maybe white, maybe an off-white color, maybe something gunmetal blue, maybe a bright, not a dark blue, like a brighter blue. Cheers, Jigs. I don't know. I don't know what color it'll be. Maybe I'll put out a poll and see what we do with a poll. I am going to be staining the floors, probably a copper color, uh, and then put an epoxy on it so it'll be kind of shiny. Copper stain plus a sealant, so it'll be kind of shiny. I haven't, I've still got a long ways to go before I can sit back and say it's finished. This isn't going to be a 2-week job. This is going to be a 3 or 4 month job. But we're working on it all. It's going to be fun. So there you go. Those are the updates. Those are the updates for now. We're going to have our special reserve, our double oak. Oh, one other big update. The last big update I've got. I am finalizing plans for our first ever members only sip along. Members only sip along. I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna do a sponsored video. I'm gonna send it out for a month and get people get eyeballs on it. To try and get some memberships. The goal is to get 10 or 15 members, paying members. Cheers, Mr. Jigs, our first paying member. Get paying members so that I have people that I can send the samples to, so that we can do a sip along. It's going to be probably 2 samples, maybe 3. And I'm thinking rye and cask strength rye, or bourbon and cask strength bourbon. So those would be the 2. This is the finished product. This is the cask strength product. But I've got to, in order to do that, I've got to have. So it'll probably be the rye. In order to do that, I've got to have the rye finished, so it'll be December. But I need to have members so that I have people to send the stuff to. So we'll do a members only taste along, record the show, then post the show up as a public show for everybody to watch and enjoy. We'll record it via StreamYard or Restream. Do the whole panel thing where everybody's on screen. We'll introduce ourselves. Everybody will introduce themselves, talk about their preferred drink, their preferred go-to whiskey. Drink. We'll all have a shot of our preferred go-to whiskey, and then we'll go into the tasting. It'll be like, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour long. Just a fun little show, and then we'll talk about it and chat and enjoy ourselves, and then flip it over and do it again. And then I'll edit it down, so it'll be only about a 30-minute show that we'll have edited, finished, and posted up. So it's not going to be some long nosebleed of a show, like these. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. So the first ever sip along, and we're gonna do that with the superfan members. We'll get them in on the first go. We'll do superfans on the next sip along. We'll go with the next tier and go from there. But for this one, we'll just go with the superfans because the goal is to have get 10 or 15 superfans. I'm really close to getting my first check. I'm really close. I think I'm like $10 away from getting my first check. So throw it into super chats, guys. Y'all want to see? Y'all want to see me get my first check? You want to see me be a professional YouTuber? You want to see me upgrade some of this equipment? Throw it into super chats. Give me something. Whatever you put into super chat, I will read word for word. I will Ron Burgundy that shit straight up. All we need is $10. So there you go. Enough of that. Enough of me talking about nonsensical stuff and updates about the distillery and stuff. Let's get on to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is Texas whiskey and what makes a Texas whiskey a Texas whiskey. So the question asked in the description, in the title, the question asked is, what makes a Texas whiskey a Texas whiskey? Is the style specific? Can you drink something and say, that's a Texas whiskey? Or is it merely a function of geography at the moment? That's a good question. Because, when you drink when you drink a Scotch has a distinctive flavor. A Scotch, it's a single malt or a blended malt. Scotch has a distinctive style. It has a distinctive grain. It usually has a finishing cask that gives it a very distinctive smell. It doesn't smell just like whiskey. You take a whiff of a Scotch, you're gonna get either sherry or bourbony or some kind of Chardonnay or maybe port. A nice uh, heavy red. Something you're gonna get something. You're gonna get whiskey because they don't always finish it in and oak casks or bourbon casks. They don't always age it in just a cask. Half the time, more often than not, maybe even you're going to get a smell of whiskey and something. Scotch has uh, a very specific style to it, and you can tell with your nose. If you're familiar with Scotch, you can tell with your nose. You go, "Oh, that's definitely a Scotch." Do I have any Scotches back here? I do not. I had a I had a Scotch back here, but I think I finished it. I had one of the Glens, and I think I drank it. I did. In fact, I know I drank it. I still have Bloody Mary mix back here. Jesus Christ, that should be refrigerated. Ugh. Blech. That's nasty. Polluting my bar. So Scotch has a very specific smell to it. Irish whiskeys, they have a very specific flavor, not so much a very specific smell, but they have a very specific style. They're triple pot distilled. They have a mild finish to them, a very mild. Everything about an Irish whiskey is mild and smooth. Canadian whiskeys are almost always have a significant rye uh, component to them. So they almost always have a particular smell to them. You know what I mean? They have a particular smell, a particular taste. If you like Canadian whiskey, they have a particular flavor to it, and there's peculiarities for the Canadians by themselves. Bourbon, Kentucky bourbon specifically, uh, bourbon in general, even bourbon in general has a particular smell, flavor, and style. Uh, it's at least 50% corn. It has a particular y'all can chime in too in chat, and I'll get to your comments. I want to read what you have to say about these styles and the peculiarities with the styles. Bourbon has its specific styles and its specific smell to it. It's 50% corn. Kentucky has its peculiar aging styles. 4-year Kentucky bourbon has a specific taste, a specific color. There's things about it that you can look at it, you can smell it, you can taste it, and go, this is definitely a Kentucky bourbon. A bourbon in general, because Kentucky bourbon, I will die on this hill. Kentucky bourbon is the generic bourbon in America. Most of it is unspectacular. Most of it is not unique or interesting. Most of it is just bourbon the way facial tissue is Kleenex. Um, Puffs is a very specific type of facial tissue that is also a Kleenex. But you know what I'm saying? Like generic standard form bourbon, that's what you compare everything else to that. Um, I don't know for sure. I know for certain that I could not drink a whiskey and identify it as a New York whiskey, a New York bourbon. I couldn't. I know that MGP made in Indiana has a particular flavor to it. You can almost always, when you put them side by side, you can almost always tell that these are identical whiskeys. These are identical bourbons. But it's really hard to tell the difference between Indiana bourbon and Kentucky bourbon. It's hard to tell the difference because those are pretty much the same style, they're very similar geography. MGP's distillery is not far from the Kentucky border. Their aging rooms are not far from Kentucky. They're very similar climates. They're very similar whiskeys. Balcones, Garrison Brothers, Giant Whiskey, Gulf Coast Distilling. Ourselves, uh, we have a very different style, a very different flavor profile than what you will find with most Kentucky whiskeys. But we're not similar in our own flavor profiles. So it's hard to say that there's a Texas style whiskey. Partly because there's 4 or 5 different Texas style whiskeys. There's Gulf Coast style, there's High Plains style, there's Central Plains style, there's the Rivers and Plains, the North Texas style. There's different aging zones in the state of Texas, so it's hard to put your finger on Texas whiskey. Texas whiskey right now, to a large extent, is in fact geography based. Saying Texas whiskey is like saying Houston whiskey, Dallas whiskey, San Antonio whiskey. We're basically saying it comes from a specific region, a specific area. Saying Texas whiskey by itself, I don't think yet has a specific style in the same way that Scotch is not a specific Scotch whiskey is a geography whiskey. Scotch is made in Scotland. Which kind of Scotch is it? Highland, Orkney, Islay, Lowland. Which kind of Scotch is it? That's the biggest distinction, I think, with Texas whiskey, because you can't put your finger on a specific style. The Gulf Coast whiskeys that get heavily aged in a short amount of time, the North Texas whiskeys that get that still dry air, and the hard winters and the hot summers, that big drastic temperature change over the course of their year. The Central Plains and the Hill Country whiskeys that have their particular humidity that goes with the high heat over a short, intense period of time. Whereas on the Gulf Coast here, we get the high heat and high humidity over a long period of time. So we have summers that are punctuated with that high, intense heat, but then a spring and fall that are also punctuated with high heat, but not intense heat, because the humidity backs off a little bit in the fall and spring. So what makes a Texas whiskey a Texas whiskey? Is it just geography? Well, on the upper level, on the top tier, when you start ticking your way down, you have bourbon, right, which is all of the United States, and that's as much a style as it is a location. You say bourbon, it's from the United States. Is there a specific type of bourbon? Well, we got different types of bourbon. We have wheated bourbons, high rye bourbons, low rye bourbons, straight bourbons, craft bourbons, artisanal bourbons. We got all kinds of different bourbons. So, on the high level, you've got bourbon, and then you knock it down, we've got geographic bourbons too. We have our Kentucky bourbons, Texas bourbons, New York bourbons, Indiana bourbons. We got, on that next tier down, we have geography bourbons. And right now, I would argue and continue to argue that Texas bourbon is, like, if you're just going to say Texas whiskey, Texas bourbon, whatever qualifier you want to put behind Texas, I would make the argument that you're absolutely talking about geography. In the same way that when you talk about Canadian whiskey, Scotch whiskey, Irish whiskey, you're talking about a geography. Irish whiskey, not so much, but Scotch and Canadian, you're definitely talking about geography. Same way with bourbon, you're talking about geography whiskey. Now, once you dig one step deeper, is there a specific style that identifies Texas whiskey separate from Kentucky whiskey? I would argue yes. There are emerging styles within Texas whiskey that will identify that whiskey separate from the different regions within the state of Texas, and separate from Kentucky and other regions in the United States. And all you really need to do is put a grain to glass bourbon from the Gulf Coast, from the North Texas, the High Plains, or the Central Plains, High Plains, the Hill Country, or the Central Plains, and compare them back and forth, not only to each other, but also to outside of those regions. And you will absolutely 100% see a unique style beginning to emerge. It's still beginning to emerge because we're talking only 8 years, 9 years in to this whiskey experiment that we're doing in the state of Texas. Every batch that we make, we're still learning about our rick houses. We're still learning about uh, the interaction with the climates. We're still learning about the interaction with the weather. We're seeing summers that we've never seen before. We're seeing winters that we've never seen before. We're seeing aging activity and just distilling activity that we've just never seen before every single year. Like 8 months out of the year are normal operating months. We've seen these before. The other 4 months, and those 4 months are different every year. They could be August one year, March another year, June another year. You know, they're not. It's not just this. It's never the same 4 months. We're seeing something different every year, and that's changing our style, changing how we interact with it, changing our understanding of what our whiskey does every single year. I mean, hell, Garrison Brothers had to change their entire barrel profile once they figured out that the way they were aging it was not compatible with the Kentucky barrels that they were using. So, to answer the question posed at the beginning, what makes a Texas whiskey? What is a Texas whiskey? Well, on the surface, geography. Geography defines a Texas whiskey. Where do the grains come from? Where are they milled? Where are they where are they milled? Where are they grilled? Where are they distilled? And by grilled I mean boiled. Boiled? Where are they milled? Where are they boiled? I could say boiled in a way that kind of rhymes with milled. Anyway, where are they mulled? Where are they boiled? Where are they distilled? Hmm. I have a feeling this is going to be a short show. Um, but there you have it. On the surface, just like bourbon, on the surface, we're talking geography. And then you go down to the next level of the sub-geography of Tennessee whiskey, Kentucky whiskey, Texas whiskey, Florida, New York, Colorado, whatever. You get down to that next level, and yeah, you're still talking about geography. But once you get down to the next level beyond that, and specific styles within the geography, now you're talking about specific styles that differentiate that geography from other geographies. Gulf Coast Texas, North Texas, Plains Texas, Hill Country Texas. Those are four distinct styles in Texas that are distinctively different from Kentucky and the other half of Kentucky. I'm pretty sure those both taste the same though, so I'm going to call it one. And then Kentucky versus Tennessee. Those are two distinctive styles, but I don't think there's multiple styles within Tennessee. New York, I don't think has. There may be two different styles within New York. It's hard to know. It's hard to know for sure. Um, but there you go. To answer the question, what makes Texas whiskey Texas whiskey? First off, geography. But then what makes those whiskeys unique? Within Texas, there's at least four different styles, probably five. If we're being honest, there's probably five. There's just not a lot of distilleries west of San Antonio to be able to put your finger on and say, aha, see, there's a unique style. A sample size of one doesn't count. But anyway, so there you go. There is my thesis paper for the night, guys. Cheers. Thanks for entertaining my random thoughts. I'm curious to know what y'all think. If y'all have ever had Texas whiskey, if you've compared it to others, uh, there's multiple different brands, multiple different styles. Don't be like that fat bastard in Kentucky who's like, "Oh, yep, this definitely tastes like shoe leather, and it's a Texas whiskey." Blah blah. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He drank one whiskey. He's like, "Yep, this is what Texas whiskey tastes like." You dumb bearded buffoon. You don't know what you're talking about. But I'm not going to talk about that guy because he's a fucking idiot. All right. Little therapy harmonica work right there. Get my chi centered and my what else? What else does that do? Centers your chi and focuses your chakras. Is that a thing? Did I just make that up? I've heard all those words be used. I think it counts. Um, now it's time to switch over. It is time for Old Humble After Dark. Old Humble Overnight. Give me your stories about Bigfoots or walking in on your wife. Oh, I found a fucking hilarious story. What was this? Guy walks into a bar. Guy walks into a bar. He's looking all depressed and downtrodden and just sad in general. The bartender goes, what's up, buddy? You look like you're having a really shitty day. The guy goes, yep, give me 6 shots of whiskey. Just line them up. The bartender goes, that's a heavy order, my man. I don't know if I can do that. He's like, all right, fine. Give me a bucket of beers and 2 shots of whiskey. Me and my friend want to have some drinks. The bartender goes, who's your friend? He's like, he's waiting out on the patio. We're gonna drink them. Load them up. The bartender goes, okay, this is the maximum that I can give you at once. I have to see another person before I can give you any more drinks. The guy goes, that's fine. I'm trying to kill myself with alcohol anyway. Saw my wife sleeping with another man, so the goal is to drink myself to death tonight. The bartender, as he's like bringing the bucket of beers up, he goes, well, I can't in good conscience do participate in that. I can't bring you a bucket of beers. I can't in good conscience help you drink yourself to death. I'm not gonna do that. He's like, but I'm with you, man. I understand. I mean, I don't think I'd take the same approach. I think if I walked in on my wife and another man having sex, I think I would throw down with that guy. I think I would fucking kill that dude. The guy goes, you know what? You're right. That's that's some good advice. I appreciate that. That's exactly what I needed to hear. And he gets up, he gets off the bar stool, and he walks out of that bar with purpose and intent. And the bartender starts thinking, did I just get somebody killed? Is that guy going to go kill that dude? Like 2 hours later, the guy comes back into the bar. The bartender sees him and he goes, ah, I'm a little bit hesitant to ask, but where you been the last couple hours? How you doing? The guy goes, I want 2 shots of whiskey and a bucket of beer. I just slept with your wife. Zing! There you go. That's my joke for the night. Um, God, there's so many topics for shows that I want to do. But I got nobody in chat right now. Y'all aren't talking. Y'all need to talk. Give me something to talk about. It is 11:39. I'm going to go for another 45 minutes. We're going to go to about 12:30, and then I'm going to wrap it up. If y'all don't give me chat to chat, I'm going to wrap it up at about 12:30, so that I can get a good night's sleep and wake up in the morning and get to work because it is Thursday tomorrow, and Thursday tomorrow, and I need to be able to work. I got work to do. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today. Really want to do the work today. I don't want to do the work today. All right, so there's a lot of topics I want to do. I want to talk about the Indian Wars in the United States because I think that is allegorical to what we're seeing happen in with Israel and Palestine today. I want to talk about Buffalo Soldiers. I want to talk about I want to talk about how cool it is that scuba gear works. And check it out. I don't even know if this is a full show's topic. Like scuba gear is designed, it's a self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, right? Scuba, SCUBA. But if you've ever snorkeled, if you've ever been in a swimming pool and you went down on the deep end and you were like underwater in 10 feet of water and you were like, this is going to be funny. I'm going to take a pipe, a PVC pipe or something, and I'm going to go down to the water. I'm going to have a pipe and I'm going to be able to breathe underwater, right? You're like all the way down, sitting on the bottom of the pool, the 8 feet mark, whatever it is, even just the 8 foot. And you go down, and you're down underwater, and you're like, I'm going to see how long I can stay down here. You take the hose, and you go, and you breathe out, you get the water out, and you try to breathe in. The water pressure at just 8 feet is enough to crush your lungs and make you exhale all of the air out of your. If you open your throat, like it'll push all the air, and all the air goes out of you. You can drown like that. It is dangerous as hell. You're not supposed to do that. That's why you're supposed to snorkel right at the top of the water. You don't like go down because you can't breathe underwater anyway, right? But that's why those tubes are only like this tall, because you're only supposed to go down underwater just a few inches. This French dude invents a thing with pressurized air that will push the air out of well, it was originally a bag, but out of a tube with enough pressure to push it into your lungs, but not so much pressure that it blows your lungs up, explodes them. And only when you try to breathe in. Like you can breathe out, and it has a regulator on, like the mouthpiece has a regulator so that when you breathe out, it doesn't just crush your lungs. The pressure of the water at 50 feet down or 30 feet down, 20 feet down, doesn't just cavitate your lungs and crush your lungs. So that regulator prevents you from like gasping all the air out of your mouth so quickly that you die. But also, it pushes air from the tanks into your lungs just enough so that it doesn't explode your lungs. You know, it only pushes in enough to help you inflate your lungs again, but not so much that it just explodes them. It's a really cool invention. It is a really cool invention. We don't give it enough. We absolutely don't give it enough credit. I mean, this is the thing that allows you to be in a completely foreign environment, an environment that we are not adapted to at all, that literally its existence tries to kill us. If you go underwater, you don't even need like animals to come and attack you. You just go underwater, you will die. Within like 2 minutes, you're dead. Water, being in water, is hostile to our life, hostile to our very existence. And this French dude invents this thing that we can go underwater and just be. That's pretty fucking dope, if you ask me. That's a dope invention. Super dope invention. And he was just like, yeah. Well, originally, scuba gear, I found out today, was invented so that you could go into a collapsed mine with poisonous gases and rescue trapped miners and not have to worry about breathing in poison gas. It's a pretty cool invention. It's a pretty cool deal. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. This thing on. So yeah, I don't think that's a whole show to talk about scuba gear, but that's neat. That's the thing I learned about today. Buffalo soldiers, Indian wars, and their relocation and damn near genocide. What else do we got to talk about? What else is there to talk about? Mike Johnson is a fucking buffoon. Mark Wayne Mullins tried to get in a fight with a Teamster on the Senate floor in a hearing. Mark Wayne Mullins is, by the way, the name of a senator. There's a senator named Mark Wayne. Mr. Beast is probably an evil genius. Instead of the Brewster's Million, I was talking to my son about this. Instead of doing a Brewster's Millions challenge, I was thinking about doing a Mr. Beast Millions challenge. Because, I mean, check it out. That dude makes like 300, what is it? What was it? Like $300 million a month, something like that. That dude is banking money. He makes more money than he can spend. And I was like, is that so? Is that really true? Like, what if you tried to spend Mr. Beast money? What if instead of doing the Brewster's Millions challenge, instead of taking the Brewster's Millions challenge from 1984 and updating it to 2023, What if you just changed it to the Mr. Beast money challenge, where you took the estimated income that Mr. Beast has and decided to, like, what would it take to? I mean, he's digging 100 wells in Africa, which is generating donations to the Water of Life or Living Water uh, uh, fund that is an actual charity that does water wells all throughout Africa. I mean, it's a hell of a mission. It's a hell of a charitable fund. He's doing great work. All that guy does. Um, oh, cheers, very Benjamin Life. Welcome. Um, Leaving for the night in minutes. I started the show late. Everybody's in and out. Nobody's able to stay for the show. That's fine. No problem. Cheers, Ben. Thanks for joining us. But I mean, literally, all that guy does now is give money away. He all he does is give money away and make the world a better place. He gives thousands of dollars to his friends. He's given away free cars. He's given away uh, you know houses and candy and all the shit that he does. All he does is do good things. He makes and quite honestly, I don't give a damn if in his private life he kicks dogs and pushes over old people. I don't care. He's doing what he can to make the world. He has been blessed with ridiculous resources, and he gives away a shit ton of money all the time. Dude could literally eat babies, and I'd be all like, "That's fine. He's making the world a better place." Um, assuming they're free range babies and not cage raised. Assuming you don't want to be eating cage raised babies. Their meat is not as um the meat's not as marbled as the free range babies who graze openly in the fields. Anyway, dude is straight up making the world a better place. But I thought it would be a cool thought experiment to be all like, okay, so he makes 300. I have no idea how much he makes in a month. 300 million a month, 300 million a year, whatever it is, $1 million a day. How do you spend that money? You have 12 months to spend $300 million. What do you do? Like 30 days is a tough challenge because 30 days, the logistics to spend that kind of money, you need to go from place to place to place to place. There's travel time involved and the cost of travel. The time cost of travel is tough. Being able to go to Wembley Stadium, rent out the stadium, and have a tea party. I mean, that's something that you could definitely do, right? But you'd have to fly to Wembley Stadium. You'd have to fly there, and that takes 2 days. So instead of having 30 days, you only have 28 days. There and back. It takes a day both ways. And then the logistics of actually renting it out. You got to make the phone calls, find out who you're going to call, make the phone call, rent it out, get the day set aside. You can't just call them up on Wednesday and say, "Hey, I want to rent out Wembley Stadium on Friday." You know, the hardest part of spending whatever it was, whatever the challenge was for Brewster's Million. Brewster's Million, I think, was $30 million in 30 days, and updated to today's money, that's something like $85 million in a month. But the hardest part about that is just logistics. If you want to have a party that's large enough to fill up Reliance Stadium here in Houston and have all the tables, all the chairs, all the decorations, all the food, I mean, that takes a week at least to put together, 2 weeks to put together. It could take 6 months to put something like that together. That is the hardest part about spending that kind of money. And let's say Beast makes $30 million a month, whatever, and it's what is that? 30 times 12 is 3.6 billion a year. I don't know what he makes. We're just making up numbers. Leave me alone. Would that be 30 times 12 is 360 million a year. Like, you couldn't spend that in a month, right? Well, you probably could, but the things that cost a lot of money, like I want to take a rocket. I want to ride a capsule to the ISS. Spend a week in the ISS. If you only have 30 days, a week in the ISS is 25% of your time. So you got to make sure it's at least 25% of your money. Plus, you got to train for a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, however long it is. You're not going to be able to do it within the month. You're not going to be able to do it within the time frame. Even doing something like digging 100 wells, you don't just wake up on Monday and go, "We're going to dig a bunch of wells," and then you go out there on Tuesday and you dig a bunch of wells. You got to have the excavators, you got to get the people, you got to organize the trip, you got to do all the logistics, and all of that shit takes time. Of course, you could pay somebody to do all of that. So there's that. You could pay your team to do all that stuff, and then that takes some of the challenge off. But still, if you end up owning a valuable foundation, that doesn't help. That doesn't work. You failed the test. But that's the biggest challenge to spending big money. I think it's easier to spend big money today than it was in the 1980s. I mean, you can buy Bitcoin, right? You can buy a shit ton of NFTs and turn $1 billion into $500,000 in a overnight. Uh, the challenge isn't spending the money because there's plenty of opportunities to separate fools from their money today. More opportunities today than there ever were in the past, and opportunities to separate people from vast amounts of money that did not exist in the past. You couldn't buy a building for $1 million in 1825 or 1725, whatever. You couldn't spend that much money on a building because there wasn't that much money to spend. The richest people in America were 100,000aires. You couldn't spend $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, $100 million. You couldn't do it because there wasn't that much to buy. But today, you could drop $1 million in a weekend if you're organized and you know how to do it. You could drop 10 times that if you're organized and you know how to. I mean, you can't just go into a strip club and drop $1 million on strippers. Freudian slip. You can't just go into a strip. I mean that's a lot of ones to be making it rain with. It's a lot of ones. You can't just do that. And I don't think there's enough. Like, if an escort costs $2,500 an hour, $2,500 an hour. If you hire that escort for the entire 2,500 for the entire day times 24 hours, that's $60,000. 60,000 divided by, or $1 million divided by 60,000 times 1 million. That's 17. That's 17 escorts for 24 hours at $2,500 an escort. I mean, I know what you could do with 17 escorts. Don't get me wrong. Make a music video or whatever. You can have them, like, one making you omelets and another one making you pancakes and another one, vacuuming the floors. You can put them to work. I don't know how good they are at vacuuming. I've never asked an escort to vacuum, but for 24 hours, I mean, if I had $1 million to throw away, I'd hire some escorts to mow my lawn. That'd be kind of funny. A French maid costume, high heels, 3-inch stiletto, 5-inch stiletto heels, walking behind a lawnmower. Oh, what an image. That's awesome. That would be beautiful. That'd be fantastic. Um, hmm. Anyway, um, I'm picturing Robert Plant in that music video, the "Addicted to Love," the music video. Where everybody, all the look-alike models are, they're just kind of swaying back and forth with the guitars and stuff. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love. Great music video. Go watch it. 13-year-old me loved that music video. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Um, but yeah, I'm picturing that 17 escorts for 24 hours and just like just kind of my entourage of 17 women flowing behind me, mowing my lawn, just doing chores, mowing my lawn, washing the car, vacuuming, doing the dishes, cooking breakfast, cooking lunch, organizing the pantry, putting down wooden floors in my dining room and here in my office, uh, labeling whiskey, corking the bottles, sealing them up. 17 prostitute or not prostitutes, 17 escorts for 17 hours or for 24 hours. And of course, 8 of those hours they'll sleep. I'm not a slave driver, right? Uh, anyway, so if you have $1 million to throw around, just waste, you could call up an escort agency and do that. But even the escort agency, they may not have 24 escorts on hand. Like how many escorts does an escort agency have access to? Right? That's a good question. How many escorts does an escort agency have on their roster? And if I was like, I need 24 escorts for 24 hours, would I be able to get 24? Would they be all like, yeah, sure, here you go? Hmm. Probably need to pay up front, right? Hmm. Anyway, back to the Mr. Beast challenge. So, like I said, I think it's easier to spend big money today, but it takes logistics and planning, and it's harder to do it quickly. It's easier to do it. I think it's harder to do it quickly because I think there's more opportunities to spend money on stuff. Gucci bags, Fendi jeans. Fendi makes jeans, right? Uh, you can rent high dollar cars. The gulf between haves and have-nots is bigger than ever. So, like the expensive stuff, the elite, exclusive things are kind of more expensive than you even think they are. The stuff that we think is expensive, like just a regular Rolls Royce or a Ferrari, like a Ferrari's expensive, right? But then they have the special Ferraris, right? Like the Ferrari's expensive, like $300,000 for a car, $350,000 for a car. That's expensive. That's more money than most people make in 5 years. But then they have the special Ferraris, like the race Ferraris, the special limited edition Ferraris. There's only 5 of them made, and Enzo Ferrari's ball sack is stitched into each one of the leather seats. Uh, just one piece of it, one sliver, that was stitched into each leather seat. You can see it right there. That's his ball sack right there on the headrest. $2.5 million for the Ferrari. But still, when you got like $30 million spending in a month, 2.5 is like 2 days worth of, almost 3 days worth of your target. And if you got 85 million for the updated version of Brewster's Millions, that's not even a day. 2.5 isn't a day. Well, it's exactly a day, rather. It's exactly, you got 30 days to do it, $85 million. That's 1 day's worth of cost. And you have to buy it and crash it. You have to wreck the car, undo it. Or buy it for parts. Buy it and hire a team to take it apart just because you're curious as to how it works. Whatever. But what I'm saying is, with the Mr. Beast money, that's even more than 85 million in a month. The Mr. Beast money is like 150 million a month. How much does Mr. Beast make in a year? How much does he make? Let's look that up real quick. Mr. Beast annual income. Let's see here. His annual income is 82 million. That's the annual for the year. So 82 divided by 12, that's what, 6? 82 divided by 12, 6.8. So let's say 7 million in a month. How do you spend 7 million a month? Can you spend 7 million a month? Well, A million is 17 escorts at $2,500 an hour for 24 hours. Going to hire entourage of escorts. $2,500 an hour, 24 hours a day for 30 days. No. 17 times 7. 17 times 7. 119 escorts. But does one escort agency have 120 escorts? You see, therein lies the question. Like, you can rent all your fancy cars, you can rent yourself an office, but then you call up an escort agency and you say, I need 100 escorts for 24 hours a day for the next 30 days. Do they have that kind of inventory? Can you do that? Is that even a thing? Can you just call up an escort agency? Let's find out. Escort agency Houston. Let's see here. Houston escorts at Passion Babes. Okay. Let's see here. Gorgeous blonde will attend you on a business meeting. Houston escorts. What's the phone number? We're going to call these guys to find out. Escort girls. They've got categories: Asian, cheap, ebony, elite, girlfriend experience, Latina, massage, body rubs, erotic, happy ending, and Nuru, contact, general booking. Let's look at booking. Book online, alternate model. Call us. Let's find out. Should I call them? What do y'all think? Should I call them? I've got the phone number right here. Team at available 24/7. Desired model. Oh, wow. They got a list. But that's not 100. Let's hear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. They've only got 37. So I'd have to call like 5 modeling agencies? Modeling agencies? That's going to fuck up my search history. I'd have to call 5 escort agencies, modeling agencies, at least, to get 120 escorts for 24 hours a day for 30 days. 24 times 2,500 times 30 days. That'd be 1.8 million. And then I need to do that times 6. You get $10 million a day. Well, wait, we got to go $8 million. Okay, so $8 million. Hang on. 85. Let's call it 85 million a year. We're talking Mr. Beast money. 85 million a year divided by 12. So the Mr. Beast challenge would be spent $7 million in a 30-day period. And if I just wanted to go the escort route, divided by 24 hours a... Hang on. Undo that. That was how much? $7 million? 7.8 million? 85 million divided by 12. Oops. 85 million divided by 12 is 7 million. Okay, so let's go with $7 million. 7 million divided by 30 days is $233,000. 230, let's call it 234. Okay, so divide that by 24 hours, right? And divide it by $2,500 an hour. It means I need 4 escorts. 4 times 2,400. I'm sorry. 4 times 2,500 times 24 hours times 30 days is $7.2 million. Okay. So that's doable. That's extremely doable. If Mr. Beast makes $82 million a year, and the challenge was to spend Mr. Beast money in a month, $7.5 million a month, I could do that by hiring 4 escorts for 24 hours a day for 30 days. And not even for like sex, just be like servants. And not like servants like, serve me, but like, housekeeping, mowing the lawn, washing the car, cooking food, cleaning dishes, just housekeeping stuff. Like you're going to be my housekeeper. Your name is Rosita. Your name is Conchita. Your name is Elisa. Your name is Valencia. There you go. You got 4 girls are going to be my housekeepers for the next 30 days. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 30 days, $2,500 an hour. I mean, sex is optional, right? I mean, at that price, right? Sex is optional, right? I mean, they're not going to go back to teaching. They're not going to nursing school or anything. I'm asking them to stay 1 month away from classes. They got to be in my employ for 12 for 4 solid weeks. That's doable. I could spend Mr. Beast money. He wants to go and put wells in Africa. Whatever. Come on, man. Have some fun with that money. Do nonsensical stuff. I mean, he's paying homeless people to go to his private island and be hunted. He's doing that. He's just got to. Why wouldn't he? I would. You would. Who wouldn't? I mean, maybe I'm just a monster. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's just me. I mean, they're like, oh, look, come on. I give you do the Joe versus the volcano thing. Say, look, you're dying. You're not going to be. You have a miserable existence. You're happy, carefree, whatever. Are you happy? Are you truly happy? Are you truly happy you're eating cat food out of the can? Are you really happy? Come on, man. Let me give you a haircut. Let me give you a bath. Let me clean you up. Let me give you some nice. You have a month to live the life that you've always wanted to live. Here's your American Express card. The extravagance that you wanted. Here's your American Express card and $15,000 cash. Spend it however you want on the drugs, pets, whatever. Rent a room at the Ritz, have all the caviar, fancy cars, travel the world, whatever you need. But at the end of the month, I need you to throw yourself into a volcano. That is literally the Joe versus the volcano, the whole plot. Except instead of throwing yourself into a volcano, you have to show up at this location at this time for the final game to begin. If you don't, I'm going to hunt you down in the streets of Houston. Right? I mean, you take your chances, right? You can take your chances. Be all like, I'm going to show up and I've got 24 hours to survive on this island, or I'll be hunted for the rest of my life. Oh. I mean, if you play your cards right, over the course of that month, you can get all the resources you need to just disappear. But you're a homeless guy. Do you have that knowledge of how to get the resources you need to just disappear? Yeah, right? You're just a schmo. You're just some normal guy. Like if I came to you, if I came to you on Main Street, Humble, and I said, "Hi, my name's Joe. I'm an eccentric billionaire. Let's go have lunch at the Humble City Cafe. I have a proposition for you." And you go with me, you go sit down, we have lunch, and I like, look, here's what's up. I ask you what you do for a living, you tell me, whatever, you're a chemical engineer, upstream chemical engineer, product, whatever, blah, 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 with ExxonMobil. I'm like, okay, cool. You like your job? Yeah, I like my job. Okay. Do you really like your job? Yeah, I really like my job. Okay. How much would it take for you to quit your job? If I gave you unlimited resources, what would you do? And then you start building your fantasy world. Unlimited resources? Yeah, unlimited resources for 30 days. You can't like go buy a football team or a baseball team, whatever, because the acquisition process takes longer than 30 days. What would you do? 30 days. Rent a boat, sail the Pacific. What would you do? I think it starts building like your fantasy world. Like I would fly to Taiwan. I would see the place. I'd quit my job, see the things I'd always wanted to see, do all the stuff I always wanted to do. Da 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 da. Da. I'm like, okay, you have 30 days to live, unlimited resources. That's what you would do. Yep. Okay. On today is November 17th, right? If I said today's November 16th. If I said you have to be at this address or this location in the Caribbean on December 18th, gave you two coordinates. It's an island in the Caribbean. You have to be at this location on December 18th. Do whatever you want between now and then. Here's your American Express Black. Here's $15,000 cash. Here's the catch, though. If you show up at this address on December 18th, at midnight, the end of December 18th, one of two things is going to happen. If you accept this arrangement, one of two things is going to happen. I will either hunt you on that island on December 18th, and it's a big island. It's a big island. It's the size. It's 650 square miles. It's the size of the city of Houston. It's the size of Connecticut. That's how big Houston is, by the way. The size of Connecticut. Like you've got the whole island. We start in the chateau. You've got the whole island to yourself. Go. I start hunting you at midnight. Or I hunt you in Houston for the rest of your life. Because I got an investment. I need to get it back. And I know people that can make it look like an accident. So it's not like I'm worried about going to jail. I'm rich. Oh man, the evil villain in me. I'm feeling the evil villain. Oh my God, this feels delightful. Oh, it's wonderful. Would you take that deal? Would you take that deal? To have the month of your life to be able to see Paris, the Taj Mahal, go fishing on Lake Erie in a schooner, travel across the Atlantic in a sailboat, go to Africa, go on a safari, do literally whatever you want. Whatever your heart desires is a phone call away with an unlimited expense account and $15,000 cash. The catch is you're very likely to die in a month. Very likely. Like you don't even know what I'm hunting you with. Right? Like you could die to the elements on this island in the Caribbean. And it's your responsibility to be on that island. Like you've got to be there. If you're not there, I'm coming after you. Anywhere in the world. Now, of course, you've got unlimited resources for a month. Can you make yourself disappear? Can you make yourself disappear within a month? Can you do that? Can an average schmo on Main Street, USA make this is a fucking movie. This is a movie. This is like yeah, for the first 6 or 10 days, but then like the reality of your mortality it shows up and then you're like, God, I've got unlimited fucking resources. I should insulate myself from a hunter. I should insulate myself. I've got 20 days to insulate myself from some dude. I need to get a new identity. I got to get a new name. I got to get a new social security number. I got to move to a new location. I've got to maybe a new some plastic surgery to get a new face. I need to convert this Amex Black Card into cash. How much cash do you need to get? What kind of assets do you buy? Do you buy a Maserati and sell it? Convert that car into cash? Buy a $10,000 Rolex and sell it for 5? What do you do? That's a better challenge than a Mr. Beast challenge. That's a better challenge than a Brewster's Million challenge. A Joe versus the Volcano challenge. Could you do it? What would you do? What would you do if an eccentric billionaire, said, unlimited resources, 30 days? I think that Joe versus the Volcano was 6 months. How long did Joe versus the Volcano? Joe versus the Volcano. Next channel. Joe versus the Volcano. So, synopsis was that he had how much time? How much time did he have? Joe versus the Volcano. 1990 was Joe versus the Volcano. God dang. How much time? How much? Oops. UCH time did Joe versus the Volcano cover? How long? No, that's not what I mean. How does a lightning bolt mean Joe versus the Volcano? The brain fog. How much time is covered? Joe versus the Volcano. Oh, there it is. How long is? Nope. Damn it. That was a great movie. That was still a great movie. I think that'd be a cool challenge. A fun thought experiment. A dark movie to consider, a dark storyline to consider. If you had unlimited resources, if a eccentric billionaire who was the dad of Meg Ryan came to you and said, however long it was, whatever, 30 days, 6 months, 30 days. Let's give it some urgency. 30 days. Unlimited resources, show up at this location. Some private island off the coast of Indonesia where there's no fucking laws. Some private island off the coast of Indonesia. Would you A, accept the challenge? And B, Do you think you would survive? Thanks, Longshanks. Uh, do you think you would survive? Do you think you could figure out a way to survive? Would you just would you just choose to be hunted, or would you use the resources, unlimited resources? I guess Amex Platinum, whatever it is, whatever the Jerry Seinfeld American Express card is. I think it was a black card. Would you use those unlimited resources to become rich enough to insulate yourself? Could you figure out how to do it? And let's say the magic number is $80 million. Could you get $80 million in a month? Could you figure out how to do, could you figure out how to get $80 million in a month? $2.5 million a day for 30 days. Could you figure that out? Because I think there's a limit on cash advances. AMEX Black Card Cash Advance Limit. 3,000. The green card is 3,000. Gold card is 6,000. Platinum card is 8,000. So you couldn't just take money from the card. You would have to, you couldn't cash advance it. You'd have to. You couldn't cash advance it. You'd have to buy things and sell them in order to make the money. So, buy the Rolls Royce, put it on the platinum card. Buy the Rolls Royce, put it on the platinum card, sell the Rolls Royce. So you buy a $500,000 car, sell it for $2.5 million, or $5 million car, sell it for $2.5 million. You would have to do that every day. If the magic number was $80 million, let's say our protagonist is sitting there going, okay, this is what we need to do. We need $100 million. And you don't need $100 million to live forever. You don't need $100 million to be infinitely rich. The infinitely rich number is much closer to 50. Probably closer to 25. Probably closer to 2, to be honest. But you get yourself a financial advisor and you say, this is the deal. But you can't tell them the deal. You can't tell them the deal, right? But you got to say, look, I've got 15 days. 15 days. I've got 15 days. And I've got to come up with, here are my resources. This is what I have available to me. I have $12,000 cash. Because let's say you spent some money. You bought some cocaine, whatever. I've got $12,000 cash. And I've got American Express Black Card. What is the American Express Black? Is that even a thing? Am I making that up? EX Black. Centurion Black Card. It's wealthy individuals, prestige associated with the most, blah, 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 blah. Exclusive membership rewards, points versatile, blah, 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 blah. Is Amex Black limitless? Is thought to have a no preset spending limit. But that doesn't mean it's unlimited cash advance. So let's just say you have an unlimited, no limits on what you can spend, right? So, let's say, like for the average individual, you could disappear in like Brazil or Costa Rica or whatever, and all you need to have is an account for what? 2.5 million? Let's say 2.5 million. 3 million. You gotta have $3 million. Eccentric billionaire says, look, here's your deal. You're living a boring, nothing, mundane life. You're the cashier at Dollar General. You're making $8 an hour. You've got no future, no prospects, no nothing. Here's what I'm offering you. Unlimited Amex Black. $15,000 cash. 30 days you show up at these coordinates, and here's what happens after that. I hunt you. I hunt you. You have as much time as you want, but you're on an island. You can't get off. The only rule is you have to stay on that island. It's you or me. Right? Crazy as fuck, right? This is like the game. Most dangerous game. This is the game. This is that was it Warren? It wasn't Warren Beatty. It was Richard Gere. No, it wasn't Richard Gere. Um, Charlie Sheen's dad is what is his name? Charlie Sheen's dad, Emilio Estevez. Fuck. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's dad. Charlie Sheen dad. Martin Sheen. Yeah. Wasn't Martin Sheen in the game? I should just look up the game. The game. Nope, that's a rapper. A film. There it is. I think it had Martin Sheen in it. David Fincher. Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas, Martin Sheen. Yeah, the same person, right? Anyway. I mean, this is that dark. This is some Gen X shit we're talking about here. This is Gen X shit. So you get unlimited resources for the next 30 days. And then 2 weeks in, you've traveled, you've done everything, you've shot your shot, you've spent your load, you're done. You're like, God, I'm exhausted. What else am I going to do now? As you're sitting in a luxury apartment in your silk pajamas, in your, dachshund skin slippers or whatever. Like, what am I going to do next? I've got 15 more days, 20 more days, because it's the 10th. I've got 20 more days. What am I going to do? And then you're thinking, I'm going to die in 20 days. Holy shit. That's when you call up, you Google accountant, right? You Google accountant, you Google financial advisor, you call up the first financial advisor that comes up on Google. Because you're stupid, right? Because, like, obviously, rich tech billionaire has put in a Google ad for the first dude, so he's connected with the first dude, right? You should have called the second guy on the list, or the third guy, or the fifth guy, or the last guy. So the first one is ruined because you figure that out 3 days later. Now it's the 15th, and you go, oh yeah, and you go like to the 10th one on the list. Like, surely he didn't get the 10th one. This isn't a sponsored one, so I should be good. You get that guy. You're like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to disappear into Costa Rica with $2.5 million. I need a new name, new soch, new identity, new everything. I need to disappear. Costa Rica. And the guy's like, we can do that. This is what you need to do. You need to make this much money per day. And you're like, cool, I got unlimited resources. I can do whatever I want. So, he gives you the dollar amount. You got 15 days, $2.5 million. What is it? 2.5 divided by 15. 2,500,000 divided by 15. You need 160. Let's call it $170,000 a day. How do you make 170K a day? You can't just buy cars and sell cars, right? You gotta mask your activities because you don't want this guy to think you're about to ditch his competition, because then he'll find you and hunt you. So you spend the money you have, you get the new identity, you put them in a little packet. You have your new passport, your new ID, new name, new everything. Collect up all that shit. You're ready to go. You have that in the duffel bag. You have $150,000 cash in the duffel bag, right? And now you got to get the rest of the money in a LLC with a different lawyer as your agent, anonymized. So you got your money in your LLC in an offshore account, anonymized because it's a Panamanian LLC. You got Panamanian LLC, Swiss bank account, an agent who's managing the company who is different from that guy, a different dude entirely, right? You got to have $2.5 million in assets so that'll generate enough income in addition to the 150,000 you have in a duffel bag, so that you can be anonymous and invisible in Costa Rica or Brazil. Or, let's go Costa Rica. Costa Rica is beautiful. And there's enough white people in Costa Rica so that you, white guy, can disappear, right? You don't want to go to like Nigeria or Kenya or one of those places, right? Because like you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Maybe South Africa, but you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb in Africa. In Central America, you'll be fine. You don't want to go Europe because Europe is too connected, too digitally connected. You know, it's like Canada. You don't want to go to Canada. You don't want to go to Europe. You want to go to some developing country, Belize, Costa Rica, Honduras, somewhere down there. Live in fucking paradise. Even if you get 15 years, even if billionaire tech dude catches up to you 20 years down the road, 15 years, 5 years down the road, you've lived 5 years in paradise beyond the 30 days. That's take the challenge, dude. Do it. That's worth. What would you do with $2.5 million generating income for you and $150,000 in a duffel bag? You don't think people want to kill you? Yeah, people want to kill you. Always people want to kill you. I would absolutely go live on the beach in Costa Rica for the last 10 years of my life. Fuck yeah, I'd take that challenge in a heartbeat. Oh, that was the promise of the 90s. That was the promise of the 90s. That you would like work till you're 50 and then live the rest of your lives on the beach and you die when you're 65, yeah, you'd be fine with that. I'd do that in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Anywho, enough of that. All right. I've had my fun. What time is it? 12:30. It is time to wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages. Who's on right now? Sound off in chat. I want to hear who you are. See you stuck with me all the way through. Sound off in chat. I want to know. I want to know who's been with me. Sound off in chat. Who's here? And I think we'll do that show. I think we'll do the Mr. Beast Money Challenge. Or maybe the reverse. No, it's not the Mr. Beast Money. It's the reverse Brewster's Millions. Instead of getting rid of all that money, you got to make that money so you can disappear. That's what it's all about. You don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want to be the guy that has all the money. Oh, look, the hearts are coming. You don't want to be the guy that has all the money and gets caught and eaten by some monster. You know, you want to be able to disappear eventually, right? That's the goal. That's the dream. That's the dream. Just disappear. And maybe that's what you do. You don't like go live in Costa Rica. Maybe you hire a captain of a ship and you just go sail the world. They're like, yeah, we're just go sail the world for the next 15 years. Just circumnavigate the globe a million times. maybe that's the point. Maybe that's how it should be done. That'd be a fun topic. That's going to be a topic for a show. All right, guys. I am the old humble guy. You are not. Don't get those two things mixed up. Be awesome to each other. I'll be back live next tomorrow or Friday. We'll do another day in the life. Maybe we'll do a labeling show. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Be awesome to each other. May the road always rise to meet your feet and the wind be at your back. Cheers to all of you. I'm running a marathon in the next 20 months. Cheers and good night. Let me get the screen set up here. Cheers and good night. This has been an award-winning production. Special thanks to Mr. Jiggs and William Hall, our supporters, our superfan supporters, and associate producers of the show. You too can be an associate producer and superfan by being a member of the channel. Click on that membership button and support our growth and improved production qualities. Until next time, be awesome to each other. Cheers.